Did you know that 99% of people make this dangerous mistake while cooking? That's right, 99%. You might be thinking, what could it be? How have I never heard of this? Well, listen up, because today we're diving into the most common cooking mistakes that could be happening right under your nose. We're not talking about a little over-seasoning or a slightly burnt crust. We're talking about serious blunders that could land you in hot water, literally. From handling knives like a clown to dicing vegetables like an amateur, we'll expose the mistakes that are putting your kitchen, your food, and most importantly, you at risk. Let's talk knives, shall we? A sharp knife is a safe knife. A dull knife, you ask? That's a one-way ticket to disaster. You see, when you're wrestling with a blunt blade, you apply more pressure. That's when accidents happen. You lose control, and before you know it, you're bleeding all over your chopping board. Not very appetizing, is it? First things first, invest in a good quality knife sharpener and learn how to use it properly. Don't be afraid of a little sharpening steel either. A few strokes before each use will make all the difference. Now, grip is everything. Hold the knife firmly, like you mean it, but don't strangle the life out of it. Use a pinch grip, with your index finger and thumb resting on the blade for control. And for God's sake, keep those fingers tucked in. Imagine your other hand is a claw, curled inward to keep those fingertips safe. Remember, you're not in a chopping competition. Take your time, use controlled movements, and always cut away from your body. And when you're done, wash and dry that knife immediately. Don't leave it festering in the sink like some forgotten weapon. Treat your knives with respect and they'll return the favor. Listen up, because this next bit is crucial. It's something that many people overlook, but it can have serious consequences if not addressed properly. Cross-contamination. It's a silent killer lurking in your kitchen, just waiting to strike. It's not something you can see with the naked eye, but it's there, hiding in plain sight. You might think you're being careful, but trust me, this sneaky culprit can slip through the cracks easier than you think. It's like a stealthy ninja, ready to pounce when you least expect it. We're talking raw chicken touching your salad greens, which can transfer harmful bacteria like Salmonella or E. coli. Using the same chopping board for meat and veggies without a proper scrub can lead to cross-contamination, spreading bacteria from raw meat to fresh produce. Or even using a dirty dishcloth to wipe down your surfaces can spread germs all over your kitchen, making it a breeding ground for bacteria. One tiny slip-up, and bam! You've got a recipe for food poisoning. Symptoms can range from mild stomach discomfort to severe illness requiring hospitalization. Not exactly the kind of takeout you want, right? No one wants to spend their evening in the emergency room because of a preventable kitchen mistake. So, how do you combat this culinary criminal? It starts with awareness and a few simple but effective strategies. It's all about creating barriers and maintaining a sense of order in your kitchen. An organized kitchen is a safe kitchen. Think of it like this. Raw meat, poultry, and seafood are the bad guys. They carry harmful bacteria that can contaminate other foods. They need to be kept separate from everything else at all times. Store them on the bottom shelf of your fridge to prevent juices from dripping onto other foods. Use different chopping boards, one for raw meats, one for fruits and veggies, and another for cooked food. This simple step can drastically reduce the risk of cross-contamination. And don't even think about using the same plate for raw and cooked meat. Always use a clean plate for cooked food to avoid transferring bacteria. That's just asking for trouble. It's like inviting the bad guys to your dinner table. Wash your hands thoroughly with hot, soapy water before you start cooking, after handling raw meat, and again before you touch anything else. Hand hygiene is crucial in preventing the spread of bacteria. And don't forget about those dishcloths and sponges. They can harbor bacteria and spread it around your kitchen. Those things are breeding grounds for bacteria. If not cleaned properly, they can become a major source of contamination. Wash them regularly in hot water, or better yet, use disposable paper towels. This ensures that you're not spreading bacteria every time you wipe down a surface. By following these simple steps, you can keep your kitchen safe and your family healthy. Remember, a clean kitchen is a happy kitchen. Listen, I get it. You're hungry, you're impatient, and you want your food cooked now. But let me tell you something. Rushing the cooking process is a surefire way to end up with a plate of disappointment, or worse, a nasty bout of food poisoning. We're talking about cooking temperatures, people. Every ingredient, every cut of meat, has its own sweet spot, a temperature range where it transforms from raw and potentially dangerous to cooked and safe to eat. Ignore these temperatures. and you're playing a dangerous game of culinary roulette. First off, invest in a good quality meat thermometer. Don't rely on guesswork or the touch test. We're not living in the dark ages. Stick that thermometer into the thickest part of the meat and make sure it reaches the recommended internal temperature. Remember, poultry needs to be cooked to 165 degrees Fahrenheit to kill off any harmful bacteria. Ground meats like beef, pork, and lamb should hit 160 degrees Fahrenheit. And when it comes to steaks, roasts, and chops, aim for a minimum of 145 degrees Fahrenheit for medium rare. Don't be afraid to cook your food thoroughly. There's nothing worse than biting into a juicy-looking burger only to discover it's still raw in the middle. Trust me, it's not a pleasant experience. Oil. It's the lifeblood of many a delicious dish, adding flavor, texture, and richness to our culinary creations. From sautéing vegetables to frying up your favorite proteins, oil is an essential component in the kitchen. But handle it with disrespect, and it can turn on you faster than you can say fire extinguisher. A moment of carelessness can lead to a dangerous situation. We're talking about oil fires, people. These are no joke and can escalate quickly if not handled properly. One minute you're innocently frying up some onions, the next you've got flames leaping out of the pan like a scene from a disaster movie. It's a terrifying experience that can happen to anyone. Not exactly the kind of kitchen drama we're going for, right? We want our cooking experiences to be enjoyable and safe. First things first, never, and I mean never, leave a pan of hot oil unattended on the stove. Even a few seconds of distraction can lead to a dangerous situation. It's like leaving a toddler alone with a box of matches, a recipe for disaster. Always keep an eye on your cooking. If you have to step away from the stove, even for a second, turn off the heat. It's better to be safe than sorry. Now, when it comes to choosing your oil, it's all about smoke points. Understanding the smoke points of different oils can help you make safer choices in the kitchen. Every oil has a different temperature at which it starts to break down and smoke, releasing harmful chemicals and potentially igniting. Knowing these temperatures can prevent accidents. For high-heat cooking like frying and searing, opt for oils with higher smoke points like avocado oil, peanut oil, or refined coconut oil. These oils can withstand higher temperatures without breaking down. And whatever you do, don't even think about throwing water on a grease fire. This can make the fire spread even more. Water and oil don't mix, remember? Throwing water on a grease fire can cause the oil to splatter and spread the flames. Instead, turn off the heat if it's safe to do so, and cover the pan with a lid or a damp tea towel to smother the flames. This will cut off the oxygen supply and help extinguish the fire. Always have a fire extinguisher nearby and know how to use it. Safety first. You've cooked up a storm, you've devoured your delicious meal, and now you're left with a mountain of leftovers. What do? Do you shove them in the back of the fridge and hope for the best? Or do you treat your food with the respect it deserves and store it properly? Listen, proper food storage is the final frontier in our quest for kitchen safety. It's about protecting your food from harmful bacteria, preventing spoilage, and ensuring that your culinary creations stay fresh and flavorful for as long as possible. First things first, refrigeration. Get those leftovers into the fridge within 2 hours of cooking. Don't let them sit out on the counter, tempting fate and inviting bacteria to the party. Store them in airtight containers to prevent them from drying out and absorbing unwanted flavors from other foods in your fridge. Now, let's talk about freezing. Not all foods are created equal when it comes to freezing. Some, like soups, stews, and sauces, freeze beautifully, while others, like leafy greens and soft cheeses, turn into a mushy mess. Do your research and label your frozen foods with the date so you know how long they've been in there. And finally, a word on thawing. Don't even think about thawing your food at room temperature. That's like setting up a buffet for bacteria. Instead, thaw frozen foods in the refrigerator overnight or use the defrost setting on your microwave. Make sure your refrigerator is set to the right temperature, ideally below 40 degree F, 4 degrees C, to keep your food safe. Consider using vacuum sealers for long-term storage, as they can significantly extend the shelf life of your food. Planning your meals ahead can also help in managing leftovers more effectively. There are even apps available that can help you track what you have stored and remind you when it's time to use it. Don't forget about your pantry. Properly storing dry goods in airtight containers can prevent pests and keep your ingredients fresh. Practice the first in, first out method. Rotate your food so that older items are used first. Always check expiration dates and be mindful of how long items have been stored. By mastering food storage, you not only save money and reduce waste, but you also ensure that every meal you prepare is as delicious as the last. So there you have it, folks. We've covered the 5 most common cooking mistakes that could be putting your health at risk. From knife safety to cross-contamination, cooking temperatures to oil usage, and finally, food storage, we've tackled it all. Remember, the kitchen should be a place of joy, creativity, and deliciousness, not a danger zone. By following these simple tips and tricks, you can transform your kitchen into a safe haven for culinary exploration. So go forth, cook with confidence, and remember, safety first, flavor always. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more culinary adventures and kitchen wisdom. Let me know in the comments below what your biggest kitchen disaster has been.